Otherwise, I'll just see your head. This is recorded.
That's fine with me too.
Are we recording? We are recording.
Well, everyone, welcome to the January 13th Voorheesville Board of Education Facilities Committee meeting. What's first, Frank?
All right. So first, we have the capital project update. And that's why Justin is here. So as you remember, Justin is UW Marks. He's our construction manager. So let's talk. I added some things, schedule shift due to steel and structural issues, change orders that affect project costs. I kind of let you go first, Justin, kind of talk about it. And I will tell you why that I first asked Justin. At the board meeting, I said that we're going to have the release of the room at the end of February. Then I had a meeting with Justin the next day and was told that it's going to be pushed back a month because of the steel. Because as you open up a 100-year-old building, we had some change orders and there were some structural issues that had to get addressed. They have now been addressed. We're fully aligned. Steel has arrived this week, right?
Yeah,
I saw it today. So I was like, you know what, Justin? I misspoke. Why don't you go to the meeting and that way I don't have to be middle there. So why don't you kind of talk about where we are?
Sure. So as Frank was saying, right, it's different variations of 100 years old. And as we've been filling it apart, opening the structure, things that were assumed to be of one nature have been another nature. And this has been going on since early demo phases in that area when we started. We initially did put a 30-day buffer into the schedule to try to account for these unknowns, essentially. The last schedule update that we produced for the project was December, mid-month 17th. At that point, we were actually about 67 days structural changes. There's two major locations within that area that we the new rooms and the new office. You factor in from the 17th to today, we're about 86 days. The schedule doesn't account for holidays and that stuff very well. So, like Frank said, we are just about 95% complete with the questions. Steel has been delivered to the job site, so it's going to be measured and fabricated. And then the remainder of the removals were in progress today, for sure. So that is trying to get us back on the right track as far as the structural impacts. Now that those are moving forward, we should be able to get back online with framing and sheetrock, rest of the basic rough.
So area A is the music park hallway area.
New office.
And new office. And area C is part of the new office. It's like the conference room area.
Yeah.
And the hallway and the cafeteria.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I asked is, could we partition off area C and make it part of area A, or vice versa, part of that office area, make it C so we can release quicker? But the problem would end up being is
we would actually back ourselves into a corner,
Yeah.
so we have to go through the office with any remaining item. However, we discussed with the contractors, and the intent is to give that portion the connector hallway. And what will be the meeting room, the office table, will be delivered in the timetable of area. So area C.
so that means now if it's March, we'll get that office area in March.
Right now, the schedule is showing March 4th. Once we do an update at the end of this month, I think that will push a little bit further just because it's caught up in the last month. But we're still looking at March.
Any questions on the overall schedule of that project? One of the things is the area that's already done, like the classrooms and the AC units and the heat units. Those are one-offs. They were going to do the floors over February break. I asked them not to do that. So the reason why I asked them not to do it is because we're talking 4 classrooms. Teachers are in those rooms. So they would have to remove all of their stuff. Our custodians would have to remove all their stuff. They would have to pack it all up. They would do it and then come back. It's just a lot of stress, a lot of extra work that our custodians need to do at the moment. And we can just do it in the summer while they're doing other flooring.
Plus the teachers are kind of, I won't say we're construction, but they're kind of, it's kind of, you know what I mean? So to pull it all out and have those 4 teachers stressed about having to come back with everything in place, it's a lot on them. So it just helps with not stressing them out any further. And then, you know, we move everything once, move it down into the room.
And they're going to be doing flooring anyways.
Correct. It's not a cost impact to the contractors. On their behalf, they just wanted to try to give you guys, in their mind, right? They kind of give little bits of time, it's beneficial for the teachers. They don't see the impact of the stress of moving the teachers. So, once we came to the agreement, we couldn't do the floor, they're fine. Again, there's no additional cost impact or anything. They'll just get back into the self-service.
Any other questions on that stuff? So the other thing I wanted to talk about is, and Colleen is well versed in this at this moment, is learning is extra monies, right? The monies we have budgeted for, the things that we have to purchase, and then the outstanding items that we're still working on. So outstanding items, as we know currently right now, is the outside wall of the foundation area, that pinkish part that goes around the building. As you know, we had it spec'd out as part of the project. And as when we did the sounding, it was way more deteriorated than we ever imagined it being. Justin, can you explain how deteriorated that is?
Yeah, so I think just even conceptually, size-wise, square footage was really undetermined.
Yeah.
It is not something that you can visually see that well. So when Frank refers to the sounding, they go through the hammer and they literally tap, listen. And as you do that, bits and pieces crumble off. And then you get to see how badly it was deteriorating. So plans accommodated for shallow repair, similar to arch, some just kind of really smooth coating on sounding. They did find that a lot of the deterioration was into the rebar and the structure, so the 2-3 inch depth, which is a completely different type of area that as far as doing that.
They're going to be giving proposals on what is in their spec, what's the scope, and what else can be, and we have to make some evaluation of what we do and how we do. Because when they did the sounding, it literally, there was giant holes and gaps coming off of the building. And again, it's just old, the water comes down, the caulk fails, the water goes in, freezes, closes, and it just causes that issue. The other thing that we have to get another, that's gonna be part of the cost is the water main. So that's gonna be another component with the project that we're gonna have to look at for overdose. So, when we talk about potential alternates, like we said, oh, we'd love to do the floors, right, and get the third floor and second floor. We have to make that decision, is getting the structural component of that wall, fixing that, and doing the water main. We have even funds left over to do the visual, because it's the stuff that's unseen and that really we should kind of focus in on.
From a constructability standpoint, what it really is.
Yeah, that's the one we have to
It's
get.
like safety section. It's functional.
So those are like when people talk about, I heard someone ask the other day, like, oh, what about all the other alternates that we talked about? I hate to say it, but we may not be hitting any of those.
What is the time frame on like how soon will the water main need to be attended to or the walls?
So the walls right now will be on hold just because of the weather.
We did talk about it today at the OACM meeting. Well, we talked about it last week at the OACM meeting. We talked about today construction to get the process back up again.
Yeah, so the contractor is going to give a color coded outline of what would be the most important areas to do, should be basically the face of the building as you put it, with the existing use.
The good thing though is it doesn't hurt the structure of the building.
Right.
Right.
It's
So
all,
that's,
yeah, it's all.
it's more aesthetic. The water main though, we need to get that done.
Yes, yeah. So we've gotten soft quotes for that. That will, I think, in conversation with contractors, won't be something that we can just say, hey, give me water. The valve, the village valve is in the DOT right away, so it's DOT permitting, it needs to be done. Design team, so there's some hoops to jump through there.
Are we thinking summer for that?
I would think on Mosaic 10 that we'd want to do summer, but I don't know funding wise, we have credits that we can get from this project, goes towards that. Discussion of 100K.
Right, that's a
Different
So
options.
that's what we need to get, those, right? So the funding stream option is going to be really important to where we get that money. So as soon as we get those quotes and understanding where it is, it'll be better off for us. Okay. So that is one. And we don't want to hook anything up to the old water line right now, because if we do that and we cause issues, cracks,
And we'll chase it.
then
through.
we'll have bigger issues.
There is a new water service being installed in this phase, and it's a new meter, backflow preventer. The contractors will do all the chlorination and disinfection, so anything that is installed will be up and operational in 13 inch. Yes, it's something we will to make that fun connection.
Any other questions on capital project? Justin, you're good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate it.
Thank
And
you,
yeah,
Justin.
if you guys ever have questions for Frank, I think feel free to shoot about him. You can email me, something like that.
They do. You don't even realize the ones that I, you don't even realize the ones that I gave you. I just want to say, really quick, I went down to the building today. They are full force working back. Everybody's back hands on. They did the mock-up of the brick. So I can show you, I took a picture of it, so I can show it to you later. So the brick on the high bay, the big bay area that they pulled it all down, that's now has like the CMU, the brick, the stone, now the brick is going up behind that. It looks really nice. From what I could see, I'm not architect, but it looked really good.
I agree.
Yeah, it looked really nice. So I could show that to
It's
you.
very sharp.
Yeah.
It's very clean.
Yeah, and it matches enough to the building so it connects, but it also sets it apart a little bit too, so.
Yeah, and then basically based on cure time and temperature, once that is completed, they'll take down that plastic structure. There'll still be a plastic infill in the window and storefronts, and you will be able to see the effect of the picture frame and the.
Yeah.
It's nice visual.
And then any of the other backfill, you're good, Justin.
If yours.
And then the other windows and backfill that have to go into the building, we're using old brick. So you're not, the goal is to not have it look patchy, right? So the only thing that's gonna be new is the new brick that we did, everything else should be reused.
Those are existing to me.
Yep.
Great. Everybody
Thanks,
have a nice
Justin.
evening. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Okay, elementary school plumbing issues. Andy.
Yeah, so, got a few issues. Around Thanksgiving, they turned over the new bathrooms to us. It's low flow toilets. Fortunately, we have 100-year-old plumbing. So 1.2 gallon flushes didn't get everything where it needed to go. So basically ran out of water and solids would collect.
That was fixed.
When I found it out, I fixed it. So I fixed it. We had to have it, had to come and jet it. Fixed it. Basically took it apart. So they had in there, there's enough water. So we fixed that. Last Wednesday, we had basically 4 wipes that went up into the trap and blocked everything back. It was a lot of water kind of quick. So they decided what to do and all that kind of stuff. In lieu of that, I had some investigative work started to be scheduled. Tomorrow they're having a camera snake come and snake from the house trap into the building and from the house trap basically out to the manhole. Just to make sure there's no other like broken pieces of pipe, any jagged, whatever. The guy who did snake it, I had him come yesterday just because and he kind of looked at some of the plumbing and the house trap going out. He suggested that we replace. It's about 100 years old and it's jagged on the inside. After hours, we took it all apart. He vacuumed it all out and looked on the inside, and it's all just jagged. So even if like with toilet paper and stuff, it's just kind of catching on, the inside of the cast. So
Here's the good thing with that. That's within the scope of the project.
Mhm.
So we were talking about that today. So we're gonna have that replaced with cast iron.
Yeah.
So that's
they had
good.
to do some other work in there because of the way they're doing the floors and stuff. They were going to extend basically the 2 U's and make it like a clean out. But they're also going to replace the trap while they're at it.
Timing was good on that.
That's great.
And the other issue is, Andy's doing this now, is if we find any other issues, we don't have floors right now, right? It's open, it's there. It'd be much easier for us to use emergency funds or do something if we have to fix it when there's no floors than to rip up brand new flooring and try to figure it out under concrete.
I didn't
Because a lot of that piping is all sealed in concrete too.
And then we have pump stations. We have a pump station here. We have a pump station down at transportation. They actually have a tank where the other ones go out to the sewer, but and then one at the elementary school. So I had that vacuumed out today, and then just kind of, because there was some wipes in the line, like is there wipes in there, and then that will get caught up in the pumps as they go out. So Blue Diamond came today, and we had We had that pumped out, cleaned out, and then that was looked at today. So everything there looks pretty good. We got just a little bit of work to do in there, but nothing earth shattering. So that part was good. And then going forward in the summertime, we're gonna have that pre work done at all the buildings. Basically, what they do is they vacuum it out. First, they run the pumps, see if the pumps are amp draws are proper. If they're not proper, then they still pull them regardless. But it's like if they find stuff underneath, okay, there was a couple wipes and it was slowing the motor down. But if it's not wipes, then the motor's starting to have trouble, and that's when you start to think about replacing those motors.
It's a little preventative.
Little preventative, and then kind of stay ahead, and we can kind of keep an eye of the conditions of all the equipment. So that's something that's going to be done over summertime here on out, all the buildings.
Any questions? All right. Next, flu and cold season. So this one's come up a lot, and Andy doesn't need to go into super depth, but I kind of just wanted to talk a little bit about the steps that we're taking. As we know pretty well about the difference between cleaning and sanitizing. We talked a lot about it from COVID, so it is flu and cold season. So we want to talk about what steps you guys are taking now.
So the cleaners here have not really stopped their COVID protocol. They've continued on. They use a mop to clean the tables. It's not an actual mop used for floors. They clean it just for the tables, but it's a microfiber. And then when the students get up, the next batch of students before they come, they get the whole area clean for the next batch of students. So they're still sanitizing in the cafeterias, both cafeterias in both locations. They're still doing COVID protocols, and then really just getting out there between classes and doing some of the high touch areas. Like in the elementary school, you have a lot of handrails. So you got handrails, you got the front door coming in. Some of the bathroom, door handles and stuff are faculty bathrooms, because there's multiple people that go in and out of there, and obviously you're closing the door.
So basically all day someone's walking around making sure they're wiping.
Wiping down and cleaning some stuff to try to just mitigate some of the cold.
And on Wednesdays at the elementary school, you guys have a program where the teachers leave the chairs down
So we can do all the desks.
and all the desks get done too. So once a week, at least all the desks are getting sanitized. So, yeah. Just little, I figured you might want to know, given the fact that the flu is rampant,
Yeah.
So, all right. So this is not a new one, but I wanted to kind of talk about it a little bit. As you know, we have the neighbor across from the transportation facility who's been, working with us and trying to be a good neighbor we've been trying to be a good neighbor, working with them. He brought up some recent concerns that Andy's been aware of. So I just want to kind of talk about the concerns. One was a plowing issue. We addressed it. Just making sure that our plows stay on our property and not go near his area, right? So that one was pretty simple. The other one, again, I think this one's pretty simple, is that he was told by one of our director of facilities that we would just let the side of the hill grow wild. We talked about putting flowers in, using Cornell Cooperative Extension, throwing seeds. Somebody went and weed whacked it all at one point. So just making sure that, we let that kind of grow back and get that vegetation. We don't need to have a walkway, because we clearly don't want people walking up the side of that.
We do have to kind of mow it a little bit though. We can't let trees grow. You can't let trees grow right up against the wall. Obviously, you got tree roots. You see what it does to a sidewalk. Can't have that do it to the wall, and then there's no support on the other side.
Right.
If you have a big tree grow on the top, so we got to maintain it a little bit.
But the bigger concern that was brought to Andy's attention, Andy's done a really nice job really looking into it and checking it out, was the sound.
Yeah.
So the concern was that when the heater goes on, or the furnace goes on, boiler, right? It's a boiler.
The boiler,
Thank you. It makes a very loud noise. And so Andy had somebody come out to address that situation, but then it seems like now that situation actually is different. So you want to talk about it? And he sent us a video of the sound. And again, his house is right next door. And the other thing to remember is, unfortunately, our facility is encased in concrete. So,
It's gonna echo.
it's going to echo, right? That's the other component of this. So,
it's a pulse boiler, so they kind of do pulse. So it was boom, 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 and it was annoying, and it was a lot louder than it is now. There's probably about a third of the noise left. But basically, they came back and they could tune the boilers to take that harmonics out. So now that part is not there. What's left is actually the intake noise. So kind of like a a sucking noise.
I can get it up.
I have a video too as well.
You talk, I'll get it.
And I have a sound pressure meter. I used to do car audio many moons ago. So it's there is a noise. We might not be able to necessarily quiet the noise, but we might be able to divert it, put a different cap on it to get the noise not to echo right towards his house. The factory rep is going to come out Friday, and so is the engineer. And between the three of us, we all have a few ideas each. So I'm hopeful that we can change up something there. And I reached out to the neighbor, just kind of told him that we're working on it. It's not finalized yet, but and I'll keep him updated. So as far as that goes, he's happy with the communication he's got from us.
Yeah, he's been happy with, we've been good neighbors and working together, but sorry, it's of course not loading as quick as I wanted it to.
I can
So,
pull on.
yeah, would you mind? You'd probably be quicker than me at this point. What was the decibel reading of that?
71.
Yeah,
Pretty close to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm back by the fence. We're down in the 60s.
So it's something to be aware of. We don't think there's going to be any additional cost for us, really, is there?
I'm thinking like an elbow and an NP, so like talking $100 type of thing, like not a major expense.
Yeah.
A few little parts and pieces,
You
and
know,
it's worth it to be a
Yeah.
neighbor.
last thing was just so you're aware of, we've had a couple boiler issues, water issues, like as you know, we haven't had hot water at one point in time, and that was addressed. So, and I just figured just give you an update on where we stand on some of those things. And no, it wasn't the hot water leaking in our basement like it was before.
So pre-me getting here, the last facilities director and business official changed all our vendors, all my vendors. So it was kind of like the blind leading the blind with some of this stuff, but we got a really good handle on it now. Worked with the old boiler company, get some of our codes and some of our stuff to work on some of the boilers. We found a seized hot water pump motor and an inducer motor for one of the boilers and some programming issues. So the pump's been rebuilt, the inducer motor's been replaced. Some of the programming issues, they worked with Stark and CMC together because one was kind of blaming the other, kind of like they weren't really sure which was which. So we got them in the same room together and worked on the boilers together, and then got them to work together. And then some of the programming issues will be addressed. We're upgrading the computer that the energy management system runs on. Right now, it's on an old desktop.
Yeah, can you explain how this currently is?
So
It's
a Windows.
Colleen and Andy, they're saying we're upgrading. They've done a lot of work to get us to this point. So it's not just some small conversation, just really quick.
It's a Windows 7 unit, TJ's office, and old, antiquated. So like what happens with some of the heating stuff is we have new features on the program that have been updated, but you can't use them. And then the machine's kind of slowed down. And then some of the air handlers will just sit there fat and happy. They think they're doing what they're supposed to, but they're not. So then we have to like power them down, power them back up to get them to fire back up.
And now we're doing it.
It's going to be a virtual Windows 11 machine, way more RAM and then different bits. So it'll make the energy management system run a lot smoother than it is now. That'll address a lot, and it'll be able to take advantage of a lot of the new features of that programming. Also, eventually I'll be able to log in from home and help. And over the weekends, I like to kind of check in. That's something else that we're doing too, is the weekend people, we're getting them logins. So at the very least that they can log in and kind of see, so that we, try to alleviate the Monday morning surprise. When it gets down to like, below 20 degrees, we're putting the building in occupied so that we don't struggle. But also having people who can log in and see the building, and then when they walk the building, you know, hey, there's a couple rooms that are cold, and we can see it, and then we can mitigate it before Monday morning comes. So I have some training to do with my staff, to get them up to par, and even some of the staff that's already here, so that they know how to make changes that can, you know, get a room back up to temperature a lot quicker than what we're doing. As far as the tempering valve for the hot water, basically it failed. And when they fail, they shut off flow. You can still get hot water, but it's not pumped throughout the building. It stops the flow of the recirculation loop. What I was told from staff is we've had trouble with it about every 5 years and had to have it rebuilt. So I had a bypass put in. You have to lower the boiler to 120. Normally you shoot out hotter water to the kitchen. That's why you have a tempering valve so that the rest of the building has 120. And then the kitchen would have the hotter water, but the kitchen's getting the 120 water, but they have boosters on their dishwasher. So they can get up to the 180 to do their dishes. And we have 120 going out to the building. So in the future, we have a bypass in case it is. Also, it's a way to test to see if that device is failed. Basically, that's it for the tempering valve. You know, we have it in bypass right now until we can get parts. Parts, for whatever reason, it's the worst it's ever been. I've been director of facilities for about 20 years at, you know, in schools and at Albany Molecular. So I've never seen parts this bad. It's like they're not even, like they're ordering them from China. They're not even, there's none in stock. They're not even here. So they have to order them, and then you're waiting for them to come a month later, and then here they are. Kind of makes our department look bad. Like we don't want to fix it, but
Under our control.
out of our control. Yeah.
All right, anything else? Anything that we failed to highlight or?
So with the first, I want to mention with the virtual machine with the software that we're going to get the upgrade with, the vendor will also, once we get IT parameter set, they'll have the option to dial into the system too, because typically right now they can't diagnose from outside. So they'll be able to come in and kind of do a remote.
And they have programmers that like sit in the
Yeah.
office, like they're programming other projects, but we have a
Times.
bad like -20 and everybody's calling. Those programmers will come off the projects and then do some service calls. So
For example, when we had our heating issue here a few weeks ago at the secondary campus, that was part of the issue. Like just all of that, like if we had this new system, we might not have as many problems.
and on their end, you know, they're short on labor. You know, a lot of people not going out into the field and stuff, so they're short on labor. So you can have a guy like look at our system for an hour, and then he looks at the next school's system for an hour. Like there's no drive time in between. It's just a better use of their labor on their end too. Helps us and it helps them.
Rob, I know.
Yeah.
Starts up, so we're right on time. Anything else?
No.
All right, then we are.
Good.
All done.
There you go.
That's 7.